Today on the channel, grab your synthesizer and meet me at the Discotheque for the Mondo Collectibles Disco Skeletor.
And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another Mondo Collectibles unboxing and review. And today on the channel, we head to the Discotheque. We head back to the Masters of the Universe with Disco Skeletor. But for all your Disco Skeletor needs, man, you gotta be watching these Mondo Timed Edition. But for everything else you might need, make sure you're hitting up Entertainment Earth. Use discount code Kyle, save yourself 10%. Anything over $79 does ship free. And sometimes some of these Mondo items do go to the Entertainment Earth of the world. Disco Skeletor doesn't seem like that will be the case. It sounds like a 1 of 1,000 exclusive right here. And this is a bit of a variant, of course. Disco Skeletor from back in the 2000X series days. That's where this figure came from. An easy little bit of a repaint here. A little bit of tongue-in-cheek figure here. Like the Nights on Broadway for the Bee Gees. How about? Shout out to the Bee Gees here. But an interesting one is Disco Skeletor. It was one of the all-time peg warmers back in the day. And a lot of people affectionately called it Disco Skeletor. Now, all these years later, with all kind of the joking around it, that figure's not quite as much of a peg warmer price-wise, a little bit more expensive than you would think it would be. And Mondo jumping in the game here with a modern edition in the Mondo line. And Mondo doing some of the best work they've ever done as of recently with the X-Men Animated Series line and the He-Man Masters of the Universe line. Have so many of those figures still to unbox on the channel, so make sure you check those out. The last one we unboxed, of course, was Beastman. I still got that Deluxe Skeletor to unbox. There's quite a few still that I have to get around to, and we'll do them all here on the channel. But of course, another thing we're going to do is this review, and we're going to do it like we do all the other ones on the channel. We're going to take a look at the packaging. We're going to talk about it. We're going to unbox it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to see where it goes from there. So without further ado, let's check out the packaging on this one. And this one's all kind of sparkly, like a true Discotheque, like a true disco ball. You got Skeletor, and it's almost so crazy colored with all the like prisms and stuff, whatever you want to call it. It's almost hard to even make out what it is, but you can see Skeletor right there. What's he doing? Firing up the old power sword. It does say a Mondo exclusive, so you're not going to find this in Entertainment Earth, as I did say. Mondo logo down here, nice and framed, very glitter, like a glitter ball, of course. And then we got the inside of the package. There's a little Snake Mountain, and of course the well-protected figure in the package there, looking very nice. 1/6 scale figure, of course, Masters of the Universe on the side there. Same thing on the other side here. And then on the back, we got War and Peace back here. We got that going on. Look at all that color. That's just absolutely wild. I'm going to try to decipher this. I'm going to try to read this. It is very difficult to read. I do like the packaging on this. I just wish the font was a little bit darker because it does get lost in all the sparkles and stuff. But we're going to try. By the power of Grayskull, we're going to try. Evil Lord of Destruction Skeletor, mortally wounded by his brother King Randor. Keldor was revived by Hordak, the Dark Arts Master. He merged Keldor with an extra-dimensional being, forever transforming him into Skeletor, the Overlord of Evil. Purged of the desire for all but supreme control, Skeletor was consumed by his greed for Castle Grayskull, home to the cosmos' greatest power source. He assembled Eternia evil warriors, but found them no match for his archenemy He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe. Now Lord Skeletor has amassed the ultimate arsenal to capture the Grayskull throne at last, with battle armor, terror claws, and his fearsome dragon blaster. He'll prove once and for all who's the true ruler of Eternia. And I wonder if this is the same copyright as the other Skeletor, the deluxe one we just recently got. Like I said, I've not unboxed that yet. Could be very similar, as that does come with the battle armor, terror claws, and dragon blaster, which makes me want to get 2 extra Skeletors so I can display every single look, or really 3. Not sure if that's in the cards, especially at the price point these are, as we do know here. But very, very big figures, as we know, with these Mondo ones. Very pricey, but man, you get what you pay for. Some beautiful figures. Really crossing the line between figure and statues, and honestly, pieces of art with these Mondo figures, if you ask me. So, looking very good. We do get the stand here for Skeletor. We always get the stands with the Mondo. Always appreciate the stands for these, because we don't want this guy jumping off a shelf and breaking and being damaged. So, more protection, the better. All always use protection unless you don't have to. There you go. Pro tip of the day. But there it is, old Skeletor in the Discotheque, ready to go, ready to cut a rug with the Bee Gees and everybody else under the sun. But I'm going to take this offline, get him out of the package, and we'll be back talking all things Disco Skeletor. All right, we got Disco Skeletor out of the package here, and like a young Barry Gibb, we're going to start with the accessories, because that's what Barry always told me back in the day. Kyle, whatever you do, accessories first, and I've lived by that rule ever since. But we're going to start with the accessories first. We're going to give it to the hands here. Now, out of the package, we got a Fist of Fury, and we got a little bit of a Maniacal hand on Skeletor there. Of course, we do get the opposite hands here. We get the Maniacal hand and Fist of Fury, so you can choose your own adventure right there. And then we do get two gripping hands. Of course, we're going to grip it and rip it with the Havoc Staff or the Power Sword. Choose your own adventure there. We do have those, but we're not done in the hands department. I talked about the Dragon Blaster, talked about Terror Skeletor and Battle Armor. Well, we get a little Terror Claw Skeletor with this one here, as we do get the two hands for the Terror Claw. Looking very maniacal, looking very crazy, looking very dangerous, like they would scratch you and cut right through you, tear you apart, of course. Looking very nice, and I just noticed something here. Holy cow. This is nice attention to detail here, as you do got a joint there on the fingers, so you can move the hands around a little bit. So that is pretty cool for Terror Claw Skeletor. Like I said, haven't unboxed the Deluxe Skeletor yet. I'll get to it, trust me. But I love this, and I would assume this is just a repaint from that one. I think that's a fairly good assumption there. But looking very good, looking very robotic, looking like a Tin Man kind of on there. Love the purple into the orange to the fingertips. Looking very nice, looking like it'll match this very well as well. And then, of course, the wrist gauntlets on those, you slide those right over the hands. You got this, you slide these off, slide this on. You're off to the races right there with the old Terror Claw. Now we got the Power Sword, of course, your traditional Power Sword, just repainted once again. Purple on the handle, orange here, gold to the top. On brand with what we're dealing with right here. A good Power Sword. Then the Havoc Staff. I'm here for a Havoc Staff. Not quite as iconic as the purple one, of course, but man, something evil and dark about a ram's head up here, looking very good. And then an orange and black attack. Like we're ready for Halloween is what it looks like. Would love it if there was an articulated jaw in here. And at first I thought it was articulated. It is not. And then you got the staff itself in a nice gold color. And then you got a little ball at the end. A little bit of orange down here to break out the monotony of the color. Looking good in the Havoc Staff department. I would say for most people when they think of Skeletor, they think of the Havoc Staff with him. It's a fair assessment. Now we're going to dive ourselves over to Skeletor right here, the main event of the show. I guess I should show this too. Here is that doll stand looking very nice. Very similar to the Beastman. Of course, the Mondo Beastman was the last one we unboxed on the channel. If you missed that video, check that out. An all-timer of a figure. Absolutely amazing. And you know me, I love a hairy bipedal creature. Beastman playing a lot of them hairy bipedal creature hits, no doubt. But now we're diving into Skeletor. Head out of the package here is a scary version of Skeletor. Of course, looks like a skeleton on brand once again. You got some green, some gold, some black. Very crazy discotheque colors, I guess is what we'll call it. You do got the big cowl over the top as well. Looking very cool. Once again, not a hinged jaw. You know me, I always say if you got a skeleton jaw, put a hinge on it. That's what you got to do. So no hinge on there. That is unfortunate there. Would really like to see a hinged jaw. It's not the end of the world, but it would have been a cool little feature there. But a good head sculpt. And then you get the more classic style head sculpt here. Of course, OG Skeletor. We've seen this before as well. I don't know. It's what's so funny is when I think of Skeletor, most of the times I think of the OG version. But if I have to choose between displaying a newer version, a more scary, more skeletal version, I always go that direction than the OG. But it's nice to have the OG as well. I don't know if you're like me or if you're one of those ones, OG all the way, that's all you're going to do. I don't know. It's choose your own adventure, I guess, is what it is at the end of the day. But a good old school Skeletor head, if that is your thing. But looking at this figure straight off, man, it's interesting. It's Skeletor. There's no doubt about it. I see this. I know it's Skeletor. It's just, for me in my brain, Disco Skeletor isn't the first thing I think of. Not even really the top 5 of what I think of. But I do like the variants. I do like some of this rarity and some of these tongue-in-cheek things. I'm here for that. It breaks up some of the monotony of the same old, and you're never going to say this is the same old Skeletor. It's never going to happen. It's not going to come out of anybody's mouth. It's never going to happen. But he does look very, very good here. Of course, he's got the armor over the top. You got that kind of crest in the middle there with the jewel in a nice orange color. Got the gold predominant throughout here, but you got some purples, some blacks, and then blue on the hands, of course. We talked about those forearm guards. These are removable if you take the hands off. These will slide off. You can use these other ones if you wanted to. Of course, he's got one of Eternia's greatest belts going on here. It is, I believe, the U.S. title belt. Eternia style is what this is, with the eagle right there looking good, a little orange against there. You got some skulls down here on the loincloth, and then I'm happy to report we got real fur in the Eternia loincloth. Love me some real fur. We got a little of that going on with Skeletor right here. He's got some standard issue. Yes, they seem to be standard issue Terry Steinbach shin guards here. Looking good. Shout out to New Ulm's favorite son, Terry Steinbach. Legend. Legend. Of course, toes down here in the nice blue color to match the hands. You got those silver toenails looking very dangerous. Going to cut you up if you're not careful. Would have liked to seen some silver on the nails on this one to match the toes. Is what it is, I guess, at this point here. On the back, you got a little bit of that spine going on, and then, of course, the shin guards, everything else, pretty on brand for what a back of the Skeletor would look like. Now, a big figure, of course, being a 1/6 scale figure, and you always got to be a little careful moving the joints. These are expensive figures. You got to be careful. Of course, head removable, back and forth, up and down. Not tons of movement there. Arm does go around. You are blocked by this, but these will move out of the way of the shoulder guards there. You do get a single jointed elbow. Can I move this? Oh yeah, it moves pretty freely. A little tight, but it moves fairly free. Hand back, forth, side to side. Hands removable, of course. You do get a little hula hoop at the top. Traditional waist as well. Can we get some Skeletor splits? Very tight, but we get a little bit of splits going on right there. Of course, legs do go up. Not a ton, though. Not a ton. You do get double jointed knees. Extremely tight in the double jointed knees. Very, very tight. I don't even want to push it too much. This has been in my house for about a week. Getting accustomed to the elements in the house, I guess, what you'd say. But you still might need a hairdryer on some of these. Always beware of that. Foot back and forth, up and down, side to side. No hole on the bottom. It does say 2023 Mattel on the feet down here. But a good looking Skeletor for what it is. It's an interesting one. Is this going to be my first Skeletor? Obviously, I would run down the gamut before I got this one. I'd go OG Skeletor first. Then I'd probably go Battle Armor. Then probably Terror Claws. Then Dragon Blaster. And then I guess we'll get to Disco Skeletor is what we'll do here. But I like what they did here, and I think for a limited edition of 1,000, makes a lot of sense, because this is not for everybody at the end of the day. This is for the hardcore collectors, the deep collectors, the completist collectors. It's nobody's favorite Skeletor. I'm sure somebody, but you know what I mean. It's an interesting one if there ever was one, and I like what it does represent, and it does tell me that, hey, Mondo's not scared to go deep. How deep will this He-Man line go before things are all said and done? Before the dust settles, they could get extremely deep into this, and it makes me wonder, could we get some deep-cut characters like the Leeches and Snout Spouts, and maybe even deeper from there? Could we get a Rock-On in the Mondo collectibles? I don't know. I don't know who's got room for it all, but I guess we'll have fun trying to store it somewhere, and I still haven't even figured out where to put the Mondo figures in my own collection, let alone thinking about some of these deep cuts. But for what it is, Disco Skeletor is great. It's not going to be for everybody, though. That's my final assessment on this one right here. But what's your assessment? Let me know your thoughts on this one. Is it a pickup? Is it a pass? Did you not even know it existed? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Of course, you made it this far. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channels, and turn on the old notification bell. Of course, we got videos every single day on both YouTube channels. Head on over to, of course, Patreon to get early access to those. Bonus content, giveaways, you name it, it's all going down over there on the old Patreon channel. Patreon, best way to support the channel. You can also support the channel, PrestonTees.com. Search Kyle Peterson. And don't forget, Barnes & Noble for the hardcover edition, softcover at Amazon. It is the complete guide to the WWE Jakks Classic Superstars line. About 700 pages by yours truly. An absolute beautiful book. I am a little biased, of course, since I did write it all. But it is a fun one. If you're into this, check it out on Amazon or Barnes & Noble. And if you want an autographed copy, reach out to me on social media. We'll work something out with that. And of course, social media, speaking of, SirPaul64 on the X, _Kyle_Peterson on Threads, and on Instagram. So for Disco Skeletor, I'm Disco Kyle. See you guys all real soon.